Guest speaker, Bryan Buhler. Bryan runs BCBUHLER Farms, which is one of the leading farming simulators, mod creators in North America, with around 19 million downloads of his modes over the past 10 years. Growing up on a farm near Boisevane, Manitoba, has inspired some of his work, and he enjoys making mods and showcasing farm on the Canadian prairies to players around the world. Welcome, Bryan.
Everyone, my name is Bryan Buhler, and I create mods for Farming Simulator. Like I said, I grew up on farm Boisevane, and I currently work at EggQuest time. But also in my free time, I do this stuff for Farming Simulator. You can see on the screen, there's a QR code there. You can scan that and enter to win a copy of Farming Simulator. The promotional material, like I said, collector's edition, but it is a digital copy because unfortunately the person who is going to send it to me doesn't work for Farming Simulator anymore. And but yeah, this way you can pick whether you want for PC, PlayStation, or Xbox. I'm going to share my background with Farming Simulator and how I got here. I started playing the game in 2013, and while I enjoyed it, I found a lot of equipment at the time was based on the European farming. Where if there was American equipment, it tended to focus more on row crop, corn and soybeans type of farming, which doesn't really represent us here for the most part. So I wanted to see what kind of farming used to from around here. So in 2015, I got started making mods for Farming Simulator, and some of the first projects I did was making grain truck, load line, box, and tractor and grain cart like with my dad. In 2017, I started bringing some of my projects to the official mod hub where players can download, create directly in the game. It is not working. In 2022, I got a lot more involved in my making my mods available to more players by trying to bring everything I made to the all platforms part of the Mod Hub. I had 22 different projects that I finished and also partnered with some other mod creators or even more, including Edgewater, Saskatchewan, a fictional map inspired by Eastern Saskatchewan that became one of the most popular Canadian maps for the game. I also introduced the concept of swathing to the game in a big way. In fact, it was so popular it became a part of the game for Farming Simulator 25. One of my most popular projects then was called the Mac Grain Hauling Pack, which was 2.4 million downloads. I started out with making a Mac semi-truck and trailer that my grandpa had in the 80s. I couldn't find the picture Dad had of it, so I kind of modeled it based on his memory and him telling me whether that was right or wrong, how I made it. I also made a grain truck version with the older Cancade box that ironically, after I made it, I ended up passing a truck on the highway that was set up identically to the truck I'd made. Now for Farming Simulator 25, speaking of which, you can enter to win with the QR code there if you missed it earlier. I've got 22 projects, mostly conversions of older projects either available or in testing to be available. I'll just highlight a few of them that are more interesting stories to go with them. First up, the AGCO Swather Pack, which you might notice this one's a case, but ironically Heston made them for case as well. This happens to be the exact one my dad had that I went out into the machine shed and measured to create this model. And Another mod with a bit of an interesting story is the Bushel Plus mod. You can see is attached to the bottom of the combine here. Kind of a funny story with this one. A roommate at the time ended up talking to Marcel from Bushel Plus, and somehow they got on the topic that I made stuff for Farming Simulator, and so Marcel got a hold of me and asked me if it would be possible for me to create Bushel Plus for the game to help show it off more. So I created it that you can even drop the pan here, and it doesn't really do anything by checking the pan, but it's kind of a cool thing for fun, and it does increase the yield when you use it on your combine. Next up is the Soaring Eagle here. One of the things I found annoying about Farm Sim was using bins and augers with semi-trailers. Unfortunately, Soaring Eagle had a very real solution to my virtual problem. So I reached out to them and talked to them, and 3 years ago at Ag Days, I ended up working with them to bring their drive-over conveyor to Farming Simulator, which lots of players who use it appreciate how much easier it is to unload their trucks. Remember how I said a lot of the mods I create are inspired by real-life farming? And while working on the Edgewater map a few years ago, we had put some community wells on the map, and that got me thinking. Farming Simulator, you normally buy a tote of herbicide, fill your sprayer from it, and go spraying, which seems weird not having to mix it with water. So I decided to try and figure out how I can make it that you have to mix herbicide and water to go spraying. I did manage to figure it out for the game, but needed a visual thing to be mixing in. I thought of Fiber and their dash trailers, so naturally, when some random person emails you and say, hey, we want to make your stuff for a video game, they don't really seem too interested. Because yeah. So 2 years ago at Ag Days, I went to their booth and ended up talking with Derek there. And once we were able to talk face-to-face, we partnered up to, that they sent me stuff to help me create their trailers for Farming Simulator. Over the years, I've learned how to do a lot of different things in the 3D modeling and modding area, which has enabled me to become one of the most popular North American-based modders. And if you have the game, I highly recommend searching BCBUHLER to see what mods you might enjoy that I've created. If you aren't familiar with Farming Simulator and would like to give it a try, it's available for PC, PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, and there's even a mobile version you can get on your phone. Now, if you want to be using mods for the game, you can only use them on PC, PlayStation, or Xbox versions. But let's give a quick rundown of the farming process using some of the machines from the game and some of the things I've created as well. This footage and a few of the previous clips recorded on a map I've been working on called Mouse Creek. It's kind of inspired by various parts of Westman, with the name Mouse Creek coming from Thuris being French for mouse, and creek because there's a creek going through it. Anyway, let's talk about the start of the year with some seeding. So in Farming Simulator here, typically when you start a new game, you start at harvest, but we go through it in more normal order. But you can see here we got a 9RX 830 with a Batterstad Seedhawk drill. Yeah, you can seed a lot of different crops in Farming Simulator. All your typical ones you see on the prairies: wheat, barley, oats, canola, soybeans, corn. But there's also lots of other crops too: root crops, sugar beets, potatoes, carrots, parsnips. And they even have things like green peas, green beans. A lot of different variety there. You can also be some of the crops you'll need to be planting as well. Here we also have the lines on the field. That's the GPS system in Farming Simulator. Is a new addition to the game, but it definitely very handy, just like real life. But yeah, there's certain crops too that you'll have to use the planter for, just like real life, and just go planting corn within a year. And then after that, we're going to need to control the weeds. In Farming Simulator, you can either control them with tillage. We're doing a more organic style farming, so you have a row crop cultivator that you can use that can keep the weeds under control in this corn here. And once this clips over, it'll jump automatically to the next one, which will be spraying. Oh, maybe not. Get back one. Go back to the type we were on. But anyway, once they find it there was a clip about spraying and showing that, yeah, spraying with the sprayer. I've had the precision farming mod enabled as well for this video. So the sprayer has the PWM system to keep an accurate rate throughout the field, no matter what speed you're going, which is pretty cool. And then we'll skip to the harvesting video. Yeah, that one. So yeah, now that our crops have grown and weeds have been controlled, it's time to harvest. We'll harvest here with the case AF11 in the game. And there's a lot of different combines to use. Here we're following one of the various creeks in Mouse Creek with the combine. Kind of enjoyable to watch the equipment move around and work the fields. It's just as satisfying as real life to see things happening. And even like this divot here, how the header will flex through. Come along here with the grain cart and unload the combine. This is a tractor here that I've made. I don't remember which one that was. The Ford or New Holland. That was a New Holland 82 series four-wheel drive there. But that's one I've made recently over the past few weeks, actually. I've been working on it. So that will be coming to the game soon. Kind of inspired by some of the options on it are inspired by a tractor that someone here in the audience might recognize with the lighting and stuff. Once this is unloaded here, we'll come and put it in the truck, so harvest can be just as busy in Farming Simulator as real life with equipment moving everywhere. Get this filled up, and this truck and grain boxes and the pup are all stuff I've built. Grain boxes are based on a load line, and it's a Volvo WA truck that boxes are on there. We're filled up here. We will jump, I think, to, yeah, we're pulling into the Manitoba pool here. We'll drive up in here and sell the grain, and that gives us some money to go again for another year. Okay, now that the grain's sold and we've made our money, it's time to get the fields ready for next year. So do tillage, you can spread some fertilizer, get your fields all prepped and ready for the next year of farming. It's also really cool in Farm Sim to see just how much some of this equipment can flex through the grain. Some other things you can do in Farming Simulator, there's lots of different animals you can look after. Also, if you missed it earlier, there is the QR code there that you can scan to win your own copy of Farming Simulator 25. Yeah, we got cows here that you can look after. Minute here, we should swing around and take a look at some of the other ones. This. Go back to the cows video. Yeah, but you can see there's a bunch of different types of cows here as well. There's lots of different animals you can raise in Farming Simulator and look after. There's some Highland cows here and your Angus and Holsteins as well. And spin around here, we'll take a look at some of the other animals. This was also recorded on the Highlands fishing map instead, which you can is also part of that addition to the game you'll win here. You can also look after some chickens. We got some sheep and goats here in this pen that you can look after. Little baby ones there. It's also pretty cool how they jump around and stuff. And over in this building here, we got some pigs to look after. And then lastly, in the last enclosure over here, we got some horses. And here we have forestry, which is also another activity in Farming Simulator. I figured I'd just show it a little bit. It's not something we're used to in this part of the world, but it is definitely a part, and it is technically kind of considered agriculture as well, even though we may not think of it. But it is something you can do in the game that is something interesting to try and just learn about a little bit by doing it. And some of the equipment is pretty fancy, like this tree cutter here is amazing how it can just cut and process the tree just like that. And you can load them all up and haul them away here. You can see as we pull out of the forest here, let's look at that view of this map. It's definitely not the view we're used to seeing around this part of the world. So it's also interesting in Farming Simulator. You can experience farming all over the world, sorts of different things, and learn a lot from different farming around the world. Now, it's a cool game about farming, but how is it helpful, and what can we learn from it? I reached out to my followers on Facebook to see how many of them had been influenced by Farming Simulator in their lives. Lots of people learned through Farming Simulator things like different equipment and what it does, processes of growing different crops, farming practices around the world, and also brands of equipment around the world. I have a buddy who works for one of the European manufacturers here at the show. He was the first one who told me that people would come up to him and say, have that equipment in Farming Simulator. I've since heard it from other brands as well, that a lot of people make the connection between seeing equipment in Farming Simulator and then seeing it here in real life as well. So I figured I'd maybe help you out with finding some of that stuff. So here are 25 brands from Farming Simulator 25 that you can find at Ag Days. First, we got AGI. They got some of their augers in the game, as well as some of the US Steel bins, and I think a machine shed as well. We got Amazon, which is actually the brand that your buddy works for. But they got the sprayers, fertilizer spreader, seeders. Bergo is in the game, which everyone probably knows. Bergo, but there's some of their seeding and tillage tools. Brant is a new addition to the game this past year. We have their grain cart is available and also a land roller. Case H is in the game, which all the big brands you would expect are in the game. But there's some of their stuff here. I'm guessing you can probably see a lot of that here at the show. I don't know, haven't been around yet to see what's all here, but I imagine all these are here. Claus is also in the game. You can see this stuff here in either the main arena or the Manitoba room. Meridian or Conveyall has some stuff in the game too. We got their conveyor and their seed tender here. The Degelman Proteal here is actually a mod I've created. They had a Kinsey version of it in the game, but I turned it into a Degelman one, which we're going to see a lot more around here. That one isn't quite out yet for everyone, but it will be soon, hopefully. Demco, I believe, is here, or at least there's a company that deals with them is here. So I don't know what I have, but I'm assuming there's something. Deutz, you're going to find them in the Fleeing Arena. They've got quite a few different tractors. Elmer's, which is another one of our Manitoba-based companies. We've got their Ravage, Harrow, and Grain Cart in the game, which is great to have. And you can find Fent at the show here in the Canada room. I imagine a few of these things in their booth. I'm not sure yet as well. Geringhoff, I believe they're actually in the innovation showcase for the your straight header. I believe you can see somewhere one of the barns, it looks like. John Deere, a brand everyone probably knows. Yeah, don't need any explanation there. Kubota's also in the game with some of their equipment. Landall, this is actually another one of the projects that I've made myself, and it is out currently that everyone can download it. Macdon, another recent addition to the game and another great Manitoba company being represented in the game. You can also find Massey Ferguson tractors and some other miscellaneous equipment in the game. Holland and Fiber, obviously these are my trailers I've made, and you can find them in the Enns Brothers Arena if you want to check them out in person. Salford has some of their stuff in the game, which is a welcome addition to see some more like we would use here. And the Soaring Eagle Drive Over, which I talked about earlier, you can find that in like the main arena. Vaderstad, here we're using their seeder earlier in the video and their planter. Mir has some stuff in the game as well. And lastly, Versatile, our local tractor manufacturer. Even though they're maybe not locally owned anymore, but they're still built in Manitoba. Now let's get back to Farming Simulator and how it has influenced people's lives and how it might influence. Some had also pursued, some of the people that had asked on my Facebook page had also pursued an education in things with agriculture due to their experience with Farming Simulator and how they just made them interested a lot more in agriculture. So some had joined the Future Farmers of America, which is similar to 4-H. Some were doing an apprenticeship as an ag equipment technician or continuing education through a college or university program. There were quite a few that decided to pursue a career in agriculture. Some of the careers were agronomist, equipment salesman, truck driver, seasonal farm equipment operator, and a few either work on a farm or are working towards having their own farm. Now, if one of those interests you as a career, you're in a great place because this building is full of companies that hired people to work in those jobs and careers. Interested in a career in agriculture, find a company here that does something you're interested in, talk to them. Sure, they'll gladly talk with you about what a career looks like, and if you're not yet, maybe give Farming Simulator a try, learn more about farming some more, and maybe you'll fall in love with agriculture. 1 in 4 careers in Manitoba are directly related to agriculture. You don't have to be a farm kid to be involved in agriculture. That's kind of all I have for you. One last reminder, if you haven't entered the giveaway already for Farming Simulator 25, we'll do a draw after questions if there are any.
Bryan, I've got a question over here.
Is there a piece of equipment that you're working on next, or what's your next project?
Last night I was working on a set of older West Steel bins, like every single farm across the prairies has. And yeah, they're for my map as well to make the farms more authentic.
Hello, Bryan.
Hey.
You might not recognize me, but we've my YouTube name is Looney Farm Guy, so
Okay, yeah.
nice to see you. Anyways, my question is, so what got you interested in Farming Simulator? What was the first experience, or how did you get involved with that? I think you might have mentioned a little bit, but
Like I said, I grew up on a farm, so there was a bit of an interest there. Ironically, I ended up finding Farming Simulator, the game, through actually there was a crane game I'd bought, but you had to download it through Steam. I ended up finding Farming Simulator through that, and even though I grew up on a farm, ended up becoming more interested in agriculture because of Farming Simulator.
Got another one?
Harry Siemens, and I'm curious as to how the increase in technology and in AI, and how do you follow that and to make sure things keep going forward the right way? And secondly, where do you see this going for you and for the industry?
It's very, for me in the future, I wanted, working at making more stuff. Want to try and get as much of a Canadian representation in this game that's distributed around the world to our farming to the rest of the world. It is a tool for it is definitely one like it can be used for brands to definitely show off. I know a lot of these brands, especially smaller ones, a lot of people never heard of, and an opportunity for them to show off what they create to people that maybe wouldn't have heard of them otherwise.
My question is, do you like have a mod for older equipment?
I do have some. I do tend to older equipment somewhat more because it is a lot simpler. Yeah, there are some. Didn't do anything to show kind of everything I've made. I could have put that in the presentation here. But if you search my name on ModHub, it'll bring up everything and is available to download.
Do you mind explaining just a bit of the process when you get an idea for a piece of equipment, how you want to make it become something on your screen? I'd just like to know how that process goes for you.
Okay, yeah, so depends kind of how at the start it goes. Some of it I'll work with the manufacturer, like the mods I showed here. They might send me some of their files they use to design it, and then from there I will go through and make it optimize the performance for the game. Some of it, usually when they're designing it, it's very detailed, and we're not going to see that in the game. Don't need to see it. But in our stuff, if it's something that I want to create that isn't a current product, odds are a manufacturer isn't going to want to give you information for something that they sold 20 years ago. So then I'll go out and either find it in the world, measure it, take pictures to get an accurate reference, or I might just freestyle it and hope it turns out okay and continuously fiddle with it till I'm happy with how it looks. But I'm going to do all that through a software called Blender, which is a 3D modeling software. It's free and it's very popular. And then from there, create the model and create textures to the model to make sure how it looks, how the dirt looks on it as it gets dirty. And then I'll bring it to the game, do all the setting up of the scripting and things to make it all function.
We've got time for one more.
Hi, Brian. I'm just wondering, is there a relationship in how the player maintains his crop in the way of spraying with the different fungicides or, that kind of thing, or rain and that? Does it have a relationship in how the yield is in the game itself to produce more?
Generally, no. It's just kind of, if you fertilize, you get a certain yield boost. There's certain processes, if you do them, there's a certain yield boost connected to them. There's a precision farming add-on, which makes it a little more in-depth, but there's also kind of a score on how good your farming practices are for the environment, which then that they use as a kind of a revenue modifier, that when you sell your grain, there's a different bonus attributed to that. Generally in the game, the game doesn't go that in-depth. They also want it to be friendly for people that have no idea anything about farming. They don't want to go too in-depth. Okay. Are there any other questions? I'll also, thank you. Also, quick draw the winners here from the giveaway. Just having my phone do it for me. Okay, we got their 5 random winners here. We got Isaiah Falk, Ashlyn Kropp, Sawyer Penner, Jordan Mantai, and Rosa Penaloza. So yeah, I'll email you probably this evening, and we'll figure out which version of the game you want and all that, and we'll get those sent to you.